Hey guys, this is Aegis with game number 2 on MLG Dual Site. And technically, I just checked, West Point doesn't actually have a chance of winning this anymore. This is all about the score now of what UMBC wins by. The West Point submitted their lineup a few days late or something of that sort, and it caused a forfeit of game number 4 and game number 5 of the series. So the worst UMBC could do now is win this 3-2, and this game will determine that. Over here we have the Grandmaster player from Team Light. His name is Nerzul. He's going to be playing as the Red Terran player for UMBC. His opponent is going to be Chris, the Blue Zerg player from West Point. I believe he's a High Masters player. This is on MLG Dual Site, so it does have the gold expansions top and bottom. Players may decide to sneak expansions over there. It's also got the awesome Xel'Naga Tower 2 or unit slash name slash Xel'Naga Tower 2s. They actually give you vision, just like a Xel'Naga Tower, just in case you didn't know. And over here, Nerzul is going to be walling off the top of his ramp so he can get those Zerglings stuck outside of his base without them coming inside. And there's the SCV going to be throwing down the second part of this wall. Barracks going down for Nerzul. We'll see if he decides to do any sort of early game bunkering pressure, just so that he can get his expansion up a little bit safer and maybe force a couple of units out onto the field. Looks like Chris is going to be going for a 15 hatch. He's got 2 drones headed out right now. One will be headed for the scout, and the other one will throw down the hatch. Looks like Nerzul hasn't scouted just yet. He's sending a scout SCV out right now. Chris will soon see exactly what Nerzul is doing. We also see the gas coming up, so we may see a Reaper expand, maybe a Hellion opener into an expansion, or perhaps a little bit of bansheeing action. We'll see what Nerzul decides to do. Those are all possibilities as of this moment. Looks like the drone will head into this Terran base. We'll see the gas, so he knows that the possibility of all of those things are open, except he will know that there's no super fast expand, also no 5 racks all-ins, also no 2 racks on the way. We have Chris throwing up his spawning pool, so he's not going to be too excited to make too many units right now. He's going to drone out pretty hard in the early game, and there's Nerzul walling this off completely. He's got his Marine out on the field, and he's going to be able to guard the bottom of this ramp, maybe go for some scouting action, and there's the factory coming up. So it is going to be a Hellion opener. We should be seeing a reactor come up soon as well. Nerzul looks like he's going to open up the wall a little bit. There's the reactor coming up. And he's also got his first Marines out on the field. He's going to be throwing down a bunker at the natural expansion. Chris knows that this isn't exactly an all-in rush, so he's just bringing a couple of drones here. He's going to pick off the SCV if possible. There's a drone out on that might go down, and there's a drone that does go down, and Nerzul is going to do some damage here with these 2 Marines. He's going to lose a couple of drones here. Looks like one additional drone did just fall. These 2 Marines doing plenty of damage. Let's take a look at the workers killed. 6 workers killed by Nerzul. That's a very strong advantage already for Nerzul. He's walling off the front of his base with a supply depot and throwing up his command center right now. Chris is going to be getting a Roach Warren and also producing a couple of additional drones right now. He's got only 1 queen out in the field right now. He needs to get a second one to bolster his production. No second queen on the way right now, since he did lose a bunch of drones, and that will delay a lot of things for Chris. And Nerzul is going to be throwing up a tech lab as well. This will allow him to swap over for siege tanks or get some Marine Marauder upgrades out of that tech lab in the game. And there's Chris's natural expansion, not too much out in the field right now, and 2 Hellions are headed in here. There's 1 Roach out in the field, and looks like additional Roaches will spawn out for Chris, and he will be able to hold off any Hellion aggression. The Hellions are securing map control, trying to see exactly what's going on at the Xel'Naga watchtowers, seeing if he can roast away a couple of those scouting Zerglings, if any. There's the 4 Hellions out on the field, and Chris with 3 Roaches, he should be able to block those Hellions from running up his ramp. If he positions them properly, that is. And there's the Hellions coming in here. They will roast one of the hides of these Roaches, not doing too much damage to him. And Chris continuing to mine gas with just 2 guys right now. He may decide to throw down a lair eventually. And Nerzel does have his orbital command now finished, always throwing down the orbital command first before floating the command center out is the correct thing to do. Nerzel now throwing up a wall at the bottom of his ramp as well. The Hellions are continuing to guard here. We'll see if they decide to do any run-bys. Nerzel is known for playing quite safely and quite strongly as well, so he's not going to sacrifice those Hellions if he doesn't think he can do a massive amount of damage. There's the Marauders out on the field as well. In response to those Roaches coming out, there's also a Baneling's Nest for Chris. No sort of creep spread at all. He's only got 1 Queen out in the field. This is very interesting. He's only now at the 8-minute mark getting his 2nd Queen, and that's going to hamper his production quite a bit. And there's the Zerglings coming in here. The Hellions now trying to retreat, roasting those Zerglings a little bit each time they back up. And there are now Banelings being morphed by Chris. That one Hellion will see what's going on, and he's going to come forward. He sees those Banelings, and he will try to get a nice response here. He's going to be throwing up another bunker, as well as additional pieces for this wall. He's getting his SCVs up to the front. The Zerglings sacrificing themselves. Where are the Banelings? Here come the Banelings for Chris, and he's going to try to bust this wall down, and there's the Banelings busting through the front. The SCVs do begin repairing each other, and the stim pack is being used on those Marauders, and an additional bunker getting thrown down. Chris is throwing a lot of money into this right now. We'll see if he's done enough damage. He's killed off 4 SCVs, but that's not enough damage dealt, especially Chris now only grabbing additional gases, and he's not got a 3rd expansion on the way, and he always wants to stay up 1 base in comparison to a Terran player. A couple of SCVs getting pulled off the line once again, just in case there's a Marauders about to enter the bunker. There it is, getting loaded up. Medevac's now on the way as well for Nerzel. He's being really safe right now with a couple of SCVs on auto repairs, just sitting ready to just in case any sort of Banelings come once again. There's Chris throwing up his 3rd hatch. He's also got an Evo chamber out in the field. He's making a bunch of drones right now, wanting to drone up a little bit. Nerzel is going to try to not let that happen, getting out a couple of Marines and a Medevac. We'll see him probably try to do some dropping action, or perhaps try to poke through the front to see exactly what Chris has. It's always good to poke through the front. This forces your opponent to bring forth his army, and you'll see exactly what his composition is, allowing you to build the correct units. It's also fine to do it with an SCV, but usually you'll see more if you come with an army. It forces the opponent to have to bring everything forward, and Chris, he's going to be forced to cancel his hatchery. I don't think those Zerglings will be able to save it, and the Marines almost focusing that down. Looks like the hatch getting restarted immediately. The Marines getting loaded up into that Medevac, and Nerzel will be able to keep 3 of those Marines alive. He may even send another pack of Marines down there eventually, and maybe a drop into the main at the same time. There's a Baneling nest researching the Baneling speed. For Chris, he doesn't have a spire. Actually, he does have a lair, but his tech is being kept pretty low because he hasn't been able to grab a 3rd expansion, and Nerzel has been somewhat aggressive with his Medevac push at the 3rd base, and we see the drop getting loaded up and headed towards the main. Chris now beginning to spread his creep. Couple of creep tumors out in the field. Like to see those become a little bit more active, and the drop is now headed past the possible 4th base of Chris. He's going to be dropping right into the main, and if he gets any of these tech structures, the Baneling nest or the spawning pool, that will be crucial for these battles in the future, but they will be able to pick off a couple of drones here at least. There's the load up, and the Queen's going to be deflecting that Medevac. And in the meantime, Nerzel pushing with a really big army towards that third base, and it is complete, so he should be able to kill that off. And Chris is sending his army halfway across map, and there's a siege up from Nerzel. He's going to be able to take down this hatchery, and down it goes the Zerglings, the Banelings, and Roaches trying to swing around the backside. The Banelings taking down the tank, and Nerzel getting as big of a spread as he possibly can. The sim being used to run away. The Roaches do not yet have speed, so those units should be able to get away relatively easily. There's a drop in the main as well, killing off a bunch of units. Let's take a look here. 16 workers killed by Nerzel. He's also got the Baneling's nest, and that's a whole tech tree denied for Chris. And here comes the counter push from Chris. All Nerzel has to do is survive this counter push. He does have 1 Sea Shank and 2 bunkers completely loaded up. The medevac's going to be lifting a couple of those units, and the SCV's getting pulled off the line to repair. There's that 1 Sea Shank getting surrounded, and it looks like the units from Nerzel are going to be able to deflect this attack. And GG out of Chris. This game goes to Nerzel, and UMBC are going to be headed to the 2v2 game, and we'll see if West Point is able to take at least 1 game off of UMBC, and we'll see you guys there.